Hello, Chamber members, and welcome back to our Chamber conversations with the members of the Frederick County delegation to the General Assembly in Annapolis. Today, we have with us Delegate Krimm. And the reason we're doing these, as I've explained in past videos, is we're not going to be able to have our live event at the Delaplane that everyone so looks forward to. But our delegates and senators have generously agreed to give us about 25 minutes of their time so we can talk about the issues that they'll face in Annapolis and the issues they're dealing with right now. So today's guest, as I said, is Delegate Krimm. Delegate Krimm served as a member of the Frederick Board of Aldermen from 2009 to 2014. She was sworn in as one of the two delegates representing District 3A in January of 2015. She serves on the House Appropriations Committee and has since she was first sworn in. She is the vice chair of the Transportation and Environment Subcommittee, and she serves as the House Chair of the Joint Audit and Evaluation Committee. And we're going to talk about that in a little while because that's a lot more significant than just a title, and we'll get into that. So Delegate Krimm, welcome. We're thrilled to have you with us today. If you're okay with it, I'd love to just jump right into the conversation. We're going through unprecedented times today. Everything that we know, our work, our family, our church, our culture, has been impacted by COVID-19. Can you talk about your role as a state legislature and how that's been impacted?
Absolutely. As you know, that we have had tremendous high unemployment as a result of COVID. And our office, my office, has been inundated with people who are seeking us to assist them with getting their unemployment. And this has been very challenging. Just like everything else in our lives these days, it has been challenging for the Department of Labor and their program that they had, Beacon, that was the name of the program, to help people get unemployment. And we have done our best to advocate for people who have contacted our office trying to get their benefits. On top of that, we're going to have, and I don't want to say we're going to have, but evictions are on the horizon here. Now, since the courts have opened up again to do those cases, I think we are going to have that problem also. And this is also as a result of people losing their jobs and just not having the funds to pay their rent. So the Attorney General did announce the other day, last week, I believe, about funds to help people with representation costs, people who are getting evicted. And we have learned through the chief judge of the district court that people do better when they come in with representation. I'm talking about people who have found themselves in the position of being evicted. So having those funds available for representation, I think will be a good thing. And I also serve on the Joint Committee to End Homelessness. I've been there for 5 years, I believe. And one thing we know is to prevent homelessness, we don't want people to become homeless to begin with. So if we can keep them in their residences, that would be our first priority.
That's great. And even just the little things, like right now you would be attending a bunch of different meetings and forums where you'd be hearing from the public and from other local elected officials on priorities. You're having to do all that a lot of that by video camera. I mean,
yes, I will be joining the municipal leaders later on this week for their monthly meeting. They've asked me to attend virtually, of course, and I will hear their concerns. And also, yes, this time of year, we do start those meetings in the community. You know, we meet with the Board of Education, we meet with the county executive, and we meet with you. And of course, you know, all those things are not happening, but they will be happening virtually, not in person, but online. So it is an opportunity for us to hear the concerns of the community. And we have had some instruction from leadership on how we will move forward. And the operative word is going to be flexibility, because, you know, we could start in one mode and have to change things in Annapolis. But we are working on getting our bills together. We've been cautioned not to have too many bills. I'm not one to have a lot of bills anyhow, but we have been cautioned not to have too many bills because, of course, you know, we probably will be working in a virtual environment. So, right. But we will be working. We have every intention to have the General Assembly session in 2021. So
that's great. So for our members that are viewing this video, you and I've known one another for a long time.
Yes.
And I feel like I can say that I have the honor of having worked directly with you. And this goes back to your days advising and providing constituent service for Delegate Sue Hecht, then Delegate Galen Claggett. You and I served together when I was helping Mayor McClement set up his government in the city of Frederick, and you served on the Board of Aldermen. So I may be the least surprised person in Frederick County and Frederick City when Speaker Adrian Jones tapped you to fill a very important role in the House leadership. And having had the good fortune to serve 7.5 years in the General Assembly, I understand that having direct access to the decision process and the legislative process is a very important thing. I think it would be good if we took a couple minutes for you to talk about your leadership role and why that matters beyond just being an elected delegate, which in itself is a significant opportunity to influence policy. Would you talk about that?
Well, of course. At the beginning of the year, she asked me to be vice chair of the Appropriations Committee, which allowed me to serve on the Capital Budget Subcommittee. The chairs and vice chairs of the 4 subcommittees serve on the Capital Budget Subcommittee of Appropriations. And that was very important to me because I felt that Frederick County needed a voice on that Capital Budget Subcommittee. And then a little while into session, she asked me to be the House chair for the Joint Committee on Audits and Evaluations. So since you've been there, Rick, they have expanded that committee. It's not only audits, it's also evaluations. So they look at programs that are occurring right now and see if they're working properly and if they can be improved upon. So we're going to have our first presentation of an evaluation at the meeting tomorrow. Actually, today is the 19th. I don't know when your people will be viewing this, but the first audit committee and evaluation committee meeting will be tomorrow. And we will hear from the Department of Health and the auditors, of course, on programs related to prescription drugs. And then we're going to hear from the the evaluators on the parole and probation program in Baltimore City. And that was requested by leadership to look at that program now. And, we're going to hear some very interesting facts about crime and people who are on parole and probation, how a significant percentage of those people who are involved in those crimes are currently on parole and probation. So we're going to have an opportunity to talk to the department, of course, to talk to the evaluators, and then see whether legislation is necessary here. And then we'll be talking to the Department of Health. So it's going to be a long meeting, but we'll do it virtually. And I'm looking forward to hearing about those things. We had a pre-meet, as we do with the auditors and the evaluators last week. The chairman did. So I think it's going to be very interesting, and you'll probably be reading about it in the paper, maybe not local paper, but in the Baltimore Sun or Washington Post. But what that position allowed me to do was be part of the decision-making process on appropriations. And that, I think, really helped us in our funding for this upcoming year, especially in the capital budget area, because there were some cuts to the public safety facility, and there was a cut to the hospital. And I was able to get those cuts restored in the meetings. So plus, I got some money, $400,000, not some money, but
A lot of money.
A lot of money for the West Side and for the regional park. And I look at that as an economic development opportunity because, of course, post-pandemic, that's what we're hoping sometime we get to that. And, we're trying to get the kids more fields to play on, more athletic fields, but also to draw people to the West Side. And that, when I was an alderman, I served on the Golden Mile Alliance, and I was very committed to the West Side. And I think we're starting to see some development over there with the theater, the movie theater, and I'm hoping this will help. So, so that's what I've been able to do. It is more work, but but it's good work. It's good work, and it does allow Frederick County to have a seat at the table, and that's what we need. We are a growing county. I think we do very well economically on our education front. We're very good, and we just need to remind people how good we are up here and how we deserve support. So
I love the change in the committee. There's always been a joint committee on audit, and the focus almost, I guess it's because of the nature of the work, but it's almost always a financial focus, right? How are taxpayer dollars being invested? I love the evaluation component because now you're looking at program outcomes, not just program cost.
Right.
So I think that's great. And I can't think of anybody better suited to be the House chair of that committee, because I've always known you to be a detailed researcher on whatever the topic is, whether it was, a topic with the Department of Public Works and Water and Sewer in the city of Frederick, or now in the General Assembly. So I think you're perfectly positioned to be a really good steward of our resources and program outcomes. So congrats on that.
Thank you.
So I want to talk to you about the 800-pound gorilla in the room is this session coming up, the 2021 session that convenes in early January. There are some huge policy issues on your agenda, right? Things like, how do we help small businesses recover? Because we both know we're still going to be in a business recovery mode come January. There isn't some magic solution to this problem between now and the start of session, and things like police reform. The issues that we've seen and felt even here in downtown Frederick relative to concern over law enforcement in the community. And then the 2022 and beyond structural deficit. It looks like we're in decent shape current year, not as bad a shape next year as we thought we were going to be. But boy, 2022, it's like $1 billion cliff we fall off of. So would you talk about kind of the big issues you see both in committee and on the floor coming up this year?
Well, I think we have been updated throughout the pandemic about the fiscal impact on the budget. And of course, we're going to be looking to the feds, hopefully, for some more stimulus money and some money to come back to the state. We can't count on that, of course, but we're hoping that happens. I think Secretary Brinkley presented this to us as a 2-year recovery. We're not going to be able to do it all in 1 year. We're going to have to, look into the future and try to parse this out as best we can over a 2-year period. And it probably may go on more than that, but we should at least look to that. So for the rest of this term, for the representatives, we will be in this mode of trying to get our budget balanced again and to get out of the structural deficit. One thing that I do want to mention to the chamber members is that Delegate or Chairman Derek Davis, Chairman Davis of Economic Matters, is putting together a recovery plan. So if any of them have any ideas that they would like to pass along, I would encourage them to contact my office. And of course, they can get that email address through you, Rick, and let me know if they have any ideas on what the recovery package, what should be in the recovery package. How can we best help them? And I would be happy to pass that along. Chairman Davis and I've worked very well together. We were able to do the franchise agreement legislation for craft breweries. He was most helpful on that. And I will never forget how committed he was to working that out. So I feel that I have a good relationship with him, and I certainly can pass along any suggestions your members may have. Police accountability will be a big issue this session. Speaker Jones did have the foresight to put together a work group. They have been meeting. I do a newsletter as often as I can, put one together. And I've been updating people on those meetings in my newsletter. And I think we will see some significant legislation. I think a big bone of contention may be the Law Enforcement Officers' Bill of Rights. That seems to have sparked the most controversy so far. So I think we'll have a detailed discussion about that. All of these suggestions from this work group will be going to the House Judiciary Committee, probably be cross-filed in the Senate. So yes, that will take up a significant portion of the General Assembly session this year. I don't know if we have time to talk about my bills that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, what I will do, the first two bills, I had 4 bills pass the House last year. 2 bills made it all the way through the Senate before we had to disband. The 2 bills that passed the House but didn't make it through the Senate, I will bring back in the posture they were when they left the House. So I will bring those back as they were amended in the House and refile those. Another bill that I will do is one on telework. I have been working very hard on this issue. I think that we have seen a dramatic decrease in traffic congestion as a result of the stay-at-home work order. So I think that we should not miss this opportunity to try to reduce traffic congestion. I know we have the P3 out there, but even if everything goes well with the P3, we're looking at least 10 years before things really change for Frederick County. So in the meantime, I certainly would like to see some reduction in our traffic congestion. And I think a good telework policy could do that. We started by getting data from the Maryland Transportation Institute at the University of Maryland. And people would be surprised to hear that in order for Marylanders to have free flow traffic, and I'm just not talking about 270, I'm talking about all across the state. If we could reduce traffic by 5 to 15% during the peak times, we could have free flow traffic. So we've been working towards that goal. Right now, we've already achieved it. We've achieved that because we are teleworking. So we just have to sustain it in some way. Another benefit to that, of course, is the environment. We have seen a reduction in the greenhouse gas emissions, which has been great. Mm-hmm. I think that helps kids with asthma, and there's a health benefit. And I think it's a climate change issue. So I think that the way I'm going to start is I'm going to start and make sure that we have a good telework policy in the state. I don't believe in asking the private sector to do anything that's a government sector is not doing. So we will have a robust telework policy in the state, hopefully, and get the private sector on board, because I think there's a lot of benefit for them too in teleworking. We had a conference call the other day with the federal personnel, and they said that telework has worked extremely well for them. So they have a survey out there right now of all of the federal employees across the country, and hopefully we can extrapolate some data. And we've from that survey, and we've agreed to share data with these personnel directors.
That's great.
So we have started, and it's not something you do overnight, but I think that there has been such a positive response on telework. The environmentalists love it. The people that are trying to get rid of traffic congestion love it. Families love it. And so I am working on that.
That's great. Even traditional employers love it. I mean, right here
Yes.
at the chamber, our little team of 5, we used to be a team of 9, but COVID's reduced us to 5. Our little team of 5, today, you and I are taping this, and my amazing tech team is managing the recording from their homes. I'm here by myself in a big empty building. But all of us, all of our employers, with the exception of kind of customer facing, like hospitality and manufacturing, where you need somebody building something on a bench, our employers have adapted, and our employees have thrived in this environment. So there's all the environmental benefit, there's a traffic reduction benefit, and there's the fact that employers understand now good employees with integrity work just as hard at
Yes.
home as they do in their
Yes.
office. So it's a great issue, and I love that you're kind of getting on top of that. I think we've covered all the things that I wanted to talk to you about.
Okay,
But what I
super.
want to tell you is, and we're going to put your email address up with this
Okay.
post. So here's what I want to tell members. I try to go down to Annapolis a couple times during session. I am always welcomed in Delegate Krimm's office to talk about the concerns of the business community in Frederick County, not just District 3A, but throughout the county. So Carol, I want to say thank you on behalf of our members, that when I do come down, and I know it's hard to get your time, you and your team have always been welcoming and create those opportunities for us to have these conversations. And I bring that back and communicate that directly to our membership. So I just wanted to thank you for that.
Oh, it's my pleasure. That's my job.
And you do it well.
Yeah, well, I enjoy talking to you, and I want to do my best for Frederick County. And my big priority is bring as much money back here as we can. We want
Understood.
of the action. So.
Yep. Well, thank